Okay, so here we have a turkey, standard turkey. It's 24 pounds, so it's a big turkey. And you know, if you're not sure about the cooking times, they usually have it right on the wrapper here. This is a 24-pound turkey. So basically, let's see here, 24 pounds, 5.5 hours. Let's see, at what temperature are they talking about? And that's stuffed, by the way. Unstuffed, it's 4.5 hours. They want it at 325. You know, follow that advice if you don't know what you're doing. I do my own thing, but anyways, let's get going. Okay, so what I'm doing, and I'll probably put a little something at the beginning of the video, but we're having a competition this year. I'm in the basement kitchen, and my wife has the upstairs kitchen. And he's playing video games. But anyways, so I'm going to use the oven down here, which I've never cooked a turkey on, so we'll see how that works. But anyways, what you want to do is you want to, and hers is 24 pounds as well, you want to make sure you clean your sink out very well. And again, this is just, I'm assuming that you have no experience with this, and that's why I'm going over the basic stuff. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. I don't have anybody to hold the camera, so I'll have to just kind of tell you. I'm going to cut the paper. There's going to be blood and all kinds of juices going down the drain. Rinse it off very, very well, inside and out. You got to reach in there, and there's going to be a bag in there, and I'll show that to you. And that'll have the giblets. That's going to be the turkey neck, the liver, the heart, all of that stuff. The pancreas, the left-handed flange gasket. Just kidding. But I'm going to take that stuff out, and I'm going to fill that pot up with water. I'm going to boil it because that becomes important for the stuffing. Yeah, I call it stuffing, not dressing. One of the things you want to be careful when you take this wrapping off, you know, I stick a knife in there and I get it started. But you want to be very careful that you don't penetrate the skin of the turkey, because what's going to happen is that's going to let the juices out and it's going to screw things up. So just be very, ginger when you're taking this thing off. And while I got the camera on, I'll show you something else. I also keep copious track of what I'm doing. So I got the turkey, it's 24 pounds, and I have in, which is what time I'll put it in the oven, and I'll have the temperature there, and the stuffing, same thing. I keep track of everything so that I know, because I've got to take this sucker out and baste it. We'll go through that later, but just about every hour. I'm pretty, I hate saying that, but I'm pretty anal about that. Anyways. Okay, again, this is for the novice, and there's nothing wrong with being new at this. Maybe you're a young couple and you just got married, or maybe you're an old guy and you just want to try doing this. Butterball has included, I've never seen this before, but they've got a whole little thing that tells you how to prepare it, and they even tell you how to carve it. So that's something that's pretty cool. If you, like I say, if you've never done this before, then something like this would come in real handy. As a brief aside, always be wary of counter surfers who know it's Thanksgiving and they try to steal things that you're preparing. Oh yeah. I know you want bacon, but you can't have it. No. Get him, buddy. Also, let's see, it's 12:20, and in this house I have a tradition of staying up all night preparing all the side dishes and such. So you guys don't have to do that, but that's what I like to do. I've been doing it for 20-something years, and I also have to have copious amounts of coffee. Okay, so what I do is I like to take this thing off, this wrapping, and then I once I've copied whatever data off of it I need, I rinse it out very good. It's full of blood, and you got to be very careful when you're preparing this dinner of cross-contamination on cutting boards and all kinds of stuff. So this stuff is, you don't want to end up with a case of salmonella or something. So I rinse it off, and then I put it in a little trash, or a little plastic bag, and then I put it in the trash can, so it's not leaking all over the place. Then I basically rinse this bird out very thoroughly, and if you reach into the cavity here, it's very hard to do this, and I'm filming, but there should be, and here we go. This is not what it looks like. Alright, so I don't want any nasty jokes, okay, because the kids are watching. Although I've been known to make some jokes about this stuff. Anyway, so this is a turkey neck. Give it a nice wash. And what I do with this is I cook it, and the meat here is very good. It's hard to strip off, it's a pain in the ass, but it makes your stuffing that little, that extra special. It gives it that extra special little flavor to it. And also the dogs, you can give them treats and stuff, you know, not with the bones, but a little bit of the turkey meat. So I'm going to put that in the water that's heating up. And there should be a bag in here. Some of them come with bags, some of them don't. Let's see, it might be, now there's another cavity over here on the other side. And in here is the bag of giblets. So you want to rinse that off. See, that's full of blood. And what they do is they seal up the heart and, you know, the liver for you, and you open the bag up and dump that in the pot and heat that up as well. So that makes really good broth too to mix into your stuffing. More on that later. Okay, so what's in the bag here? Basically you got body parts. Alright, so here it looks like a looks like the heart. Throw that in there. I'm not a mortician, so I may be getting it wrong. This is the liver, and I don't like liver, but again, we're doing this for the flavor. And over here you got, well, maybe this is the heart. Who knows? But throw it in there and boil it. And you throw this in your bag. Okay, this is probably a good time to try and push you to buy a very decent pan for your turkey. This has got an insert that you can set the bird on, and this is a nice big heavy duty one. And then the juices will go down there and you can use that for your gravy. And we'll get into that later on. But you know, I cannot overestimate the importance of a solid pan.
We interrupt this program to correct the clearly uneducated American wannabe chef. I believe the word he meant to use was overemphasize. He cannot overemphasize, not overestimate. Back to your program.
If you try to use one of these, you know, something like this for your turkey, when you're taking it out, it's going to fold up on you, collapse, and you're going to have burned feet and an embarrassing situation when you don't have a turkey that, you know, for all your guests. So make the investment. This thing here will last you forever. We've got two, thank God, because my wife's using one upstairs for her turkey. And yeah, so we're going to set that bird in here momentarily. Okay, so this is what you end up with. You got the bird all nice and cleaned, and you know, you want to get all the water off of it, pat it dry. You know, it doesn't have to be bone dry, but just do what you can. And another thing I'd like to tell you that's really important, and it should become your habit every time you're cooking, no matter what meal you're cooking, but try and clean as you go. If you do something with the turkey, clean it up as you go. Once you're done with the pan, wash it. That way you don't have a bunch of crap laying all over the house that you got to rush around and clean before your company gets there. And also it makes things a lot more organized. You don't want to get in the habit of being one of those people that you know, opens up a can and leaves the can opener sitting there in the empty can. Trust me on this, it'll become a very good habit, and you'll really learn to appreciate it. Okay, so what do you do with your turkey while you're doing everything else? Cover it with foil. If you're like us, you don't have room in your refrigerator. Now, fortunately, we live in Virginia and it's 27 degrees outside, so we can put them on the deck. Unfortunately, if we leave them out there too long, they'll freeze. So we got to be real cognizant of that. In the meantime, I'm setting it right there, and I'll get back to it. Okay, the other thing I did was I got the oven preheated to 350. Now, that ain't necessarily the temperature I'm going to keep it at, but I want it nice and preheated so I don't have to wait around when it's time to put something in there. We got all kinds of dishes going, yams, boiling onions, that's a whole nother recipe, it's really cool, all kinds of stuff. But again, I can't emphasize enough, clean up after yourself as you go, so there should never be an empty dish or something in the sink. Just keep it nice and clean, and then when you're done, you get to be done, not have to clean up. Okay, now we're coming to a real important part of the meal, the stuffing. Now, pay attention. If you can get a big pan like this is the best way to do it. If not, use a couple of the little pans. You know, it depends on how many people you're cooking for. We're probably going to have 12 people. Now, this is the Mike Weiss secret to Thanksgiving. This is one of the big secrets. Mrs. Cubbinson's. I'm not an owner. I don't have stock in it. I'm just telling you. I'm from California. I'm in Virginia. And I'm telling you that when people taste my stuffing, they can't believe it. This is the main key. They don't sell it everywhere in the country. And as you can see, I just got a case delivered of 12 boxes of this stuff, like I do every year, because it is really the key. Remember that name, Mrs. Cubbitson's. Google it and order it long before you're gonna, cook your Christmas turkey or your Thanksgiving turkey. Now on the back, it's got all kinds of directions, and basically what I'm interested in is the weight of the turkey. Here you got from 20 to 25 pounds, 4 to 6 bags. There's 2 bags in each box. I'll use 6 or 8 just because I love it, and we've got a big family and we like leftovers, so watch the magic. Now, if you're not like a real experimental type of cook, or you're in a hurry, or you just don't feel like messing around, they have instructions right here on the back. They got them on the side. They tell you everything you know. You can just follow the instructions here and you'll be good to go. I do a little extra because that's how I am, and I look at the stuffing, and this is like pre-spiced up, and it's really good. But I use it as the base, so I dump my. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna put 4 or 6 bags in here. That's why I'm using such a big container. And let me do that, and I'll come right back to you. Okay, so that's what 6 bags of this stuffing mix looks like, and I like to get the classic dressing season. They make different products. I'm sure they're all good, but this is my favorite. And it's like I said, you could follow their instructions and it would be awesome, but I'm gonna make it extra specially cool. And trust me, if you follow my way, you're gonna be a hero. Okay, I think the box calls for about 2 cubes of butter or margarine into this thing. I just kind of wing it, so I'll just go ahead and put a lot of butter in there. It's not very healthy, but you'll see. Okay, so basically I've melted this butter down almost all the way, and I'm just going to dump it in there, and then we're going to get kind of messy here as we start to add things, but it's really a lot of fun. Okay, so it gets pretty hot down here. We're in the basement, so we're opening the door and it's like freezing outside, so decided to throw that in. Now I'm going to take this and basically, like I said, it's just really to texture and to taste, so I don't really follow instructions as far as the amount, and I can tell you I'll be adding more than that. Okay, so as you can see, we're going in for round 2, and I put all that other butter in here, and I can just tell by the consistency as I stir it around that it's not enough. Now if you're a health nut, you probably don't want to follow my recipe, because this is probably going to take 10 years off my life, but it's not about how long you live, it's how good you look in your casket. So just watch your little boyish figure. Oh yeah, that right there is health, my friends. Pure health. So the butter is in there. I've mixed it up, and now I've chopped an awful lot of onions, or I can't say that I did, but I had somebody do it. But I also have eggs. I'm going to put eggs in there, but this is not the amount of onions I'm going to put in. You really do it to taste. I mean, I love onions, so I'm going to put a lot in there. They bake down, so they're not strong, but man, if you like onions at all, add them. I can't imagine it without. And so, again, it's not, I don't measure. I just go by texture, by look, by taste. I just start adding it in. Charlie, I am trying to make a YouTube video here. You leave me alone. He's getting hungry because he's smelling everything. This is a lot of stuffing mix, so I'm putting a lot of onions in there. And now I'm going to mix it up, and I can't film while I'm mixing it up, so I'll be right back. Alright, so I just remembered I have a tripod, so now I can do a little bit more so you guys can see it accurately. Now this year I'm using a spoon, but you're going to see later I'm going to end up using my hands, so make sure you got your nails clean and cut and got nice clean hands, because it's like working with clay or finger painting or something. Now I can tell by the consistency that it's getting pretty good. Now look at all the onions I used. This thing was a mountain of onions. So now I'm going to add the eggs. Big box here. So basically, make sure you don't get any shells in there. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll put 5 in and see how that feels. And again, I have to do it by texture, and you'll know what I mean once you do it. So let's see. And then these other onions that you see here, those will go for my wife's turkey upstairs. She's cooking a bird the same size. Okay, so mix these in, and I can tell that's not enough eggs. You know, the eggs really keep it together and give it a little bit of a better texture, and they do definitely add to the flavor. You can see why you need a big mixing bowl or container. And if you have dogs, make sure that you don't spill any of these onions on the floor. You probably know that onions are deadly to dogs, just like chocolate and just like grapes or raisins. So you got to be careful. I got two dogs standing right below me, praying that I drop something. Got a little bit. Oh shoot! Got some more eggs. And I'm gonna add 3 more eggs. So what was that? That's a total of 8, I think, in my case. But you know, do your own thing. Just, it's trial and error, and you can't really screw it up. That's the good news. I mean, it'll just have a different texture or a different taste, or you know, something like that. It's not like the end of the world. So, you know, if you're one of those people that follows cooking directions exactly, you're gonna be a stressed out person. You don't want to do that, man. Trust me. Just wing it. As long as you get the basics down of whatever meal you're cooking, you should be good to go. Like right now I'm boiling a pot with the giblets, just getting ready to boil over. So I'm gonna turn that down. Okay. Now, next you got your celery. I don't know if you can see that. I can't really see what I'm filming, but I'm assuming that the camera's aimed here. So I use a lot of celery. Chop it up nice and fine like this. It adds color and also flavor. And so, you know, you can't really add too much. In fact, I'm going to make it easy. I'm just going to add it all. Now, if you asked me how much celery I just put in there, I could not tell you. I don't weigh, I don't measure. Just ignore me. I'm just talking because the silence is deafening. So I got to talk. All right, so now I mix it all up. Don't worry, I'm going to do a much better job of mixing later with my hands. It's going to be fun. You'll see. Oh yeah. Now you can't see it, but I got a 125-pound golden retriever standing here and a 2-ounce Pomchi. And the reason they're at my feet is because they smell this. That's bacon. Now we fried a lot of bacon, get all the grease out of it. My wife's got half up there and I got the other half. And, you know, you gotta eat some bacon. It's tradition. But what you're gonna do with this, you can use scissors if you have some clean scissors. It's a little tedious, but I like to just tear it up, man. As small as you can, you know, not like real crumbly, I mean like bacon bits. You know, just shred it up, man. Have fun with it. I'm not gonna make you watch me do the whole thing, but you're gonna get the idea here. You know, some people take scissors and they just cut it right up, I suppose. I don't really know that, I'm just making that up, but I assume people do that. But you know, some people wear long underwear and slippers when they're preparing their Thanksgiving meal. Uh-oh, this sounds like me. Thank God you can't see it, but that is what I'm doing. I mean, what time is it? It's like 2:27 in the morning. Damn right I'm in long underwear. Shred it. Take your time. Doesn't have to be too small. You don't want it too big. I mean, you don't want like pieces like this. But, you know, maybe tear that into 3 or 4 pieces and you're good to go. I mean, everybody likes bacon. Well, I mean, I don't want to get religious, but I guess some people don't. Most of us like bacon. How's that? Woo-wee! I got something boiling over here. Emergency alert, emergency alert. So I'm using an electric stove down here, which upstairs is gas, and I prefer gas, so just thought I'd throw that in there because that'll be my excuse if weird things happen. I'll say I don't know what I'm doing. I did not just hand the dogs a piece of bacon. I know that's what it looked like, but that's not what happened. Okay, this is a good time to just resign yourself to the fact that it's going to get messy. Because if you don't have a good mix, you're going to end up with an uneven mixture of stuffing where you're going to have, oops, there goes a piece of bacon to the dog. See, I got to be careful that onions don't fall down there. But if you're not careful, you'll end up with half the stuffing with bacon and onions and the other half with just all onions, and you get the picture. So just don't be afraid to get messy. Keep a towel next to you. Do it next to the sink so you can rinse off. Make sure your hands are spotless. You're not picking your nose or scratching your ass. The more you have in the container, the harder it is to be sure that you're good to go. And it's going to get a little bit harder too, because I still got more stuff I got to add into this, and it's a challenge, but it's fun. So just pretend like you're a sculptor. What I do next is I include the walnuts. These are finely diced walnuts. They're diamond and they're from California. That's why I get them, because that's where I'm from. Just kidding. But I used to do the fresh walnuts and grind them up with a rock like I was a Indian on the plains. But you get older and you just want to expedite. I also sometimes will put almonds in there and different types of nuts. If you don't like nuts, don't put them in there. My wife doesn't like them, so she makes a different batch of stuffing without the nuts. But I'm telling you, if you even slightly like them, give it a try. I think it just really gives it that oomph. And if somebody in the house is allergic to nuts and you don't like them, then use extra nuts. Just kidding. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do is, probably don't have to show you this part. I bet you guessed that I had to open the bag, but I'm thorough. And so I sprinkle them liberally in here because I like them. Well, I'll probably use half the bag. Yeah. For a container of stuffing this size, that seems like a lot, but it's really not. I mean, once I mix it up, you're going to see those nuts will disappear quicker than my nuts disappeared on my first date. Just kidding, that was bad. I'll probably edit that out because it could be grandmothers watching this. Charlie, stop growling at me. Listen, I haven't said one cuss word yet, so that's pretty rare. I think we ought to have a press conference. Mike prepared stuffing without cussing. Charlie, get your nose away from here. See, the thing is, Charlie can reach up here and within one breath inhale this entire mixture. So I'll do a better job later on of mixing that, but that just gives you the idea. Constant rinsing, constant drying. It's like an operation room here, like a hospital. Like a surgeon. Woo! Okay, so what we do now is I get a couple of bottles of the cheapest white wine that I can find. I don't even know what this is. It's called Barefoot. And basically you get a white wine. This is good to baste the turkey with, but I also put a little bit in the stuffing. I don't need a whole lot of that because, remember, I was boiling the turkey neck and the giblets, so I got all that broth, which is really good. And I'm going to strip the meat off the neck, cut up the heart and all that stuff, and make it very small. Put it in here. You can do the liver too. I'm not a big fan of that, but that's me. Okay, so we got the turkey neck here, and one of the things, I don't know, should I zoom in? Let me see if I should zoom in here. Hang on a second. How do you? Okay, wait a minute. Yeah, let me. So basically, what I'm going to do here is, it's a pain in the butt. You just tear the meat off on a nice clean cutting board, and if you cook it enough, it should just come right off, just like this. And you don't have to do it on the board. You can do it right over the stuffing and put it into the stuffing. Tear it up as small as you can. There's not a lot of meat, but it's very good, and believe it or not, it makes a difference. And if you happen to drop some in the dog's mouth, they like it.
Alright, I'm ready.
So we're gonna do that.
Oh my god.
That's my son playing PlayStation in the background at 4 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, we definitely make this an all-nighter. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. And you get an idea. You're going to take these giblets, take a knife, and cut them up as small as you can. Some of the stuff like the liver, and you know, they have a very bitter flavor to them. So you want to cut those up very small so that your guests don't get a mouthful of, you know, a big piece where it tastes all livery or something. So you want to cut those up nice and small. Alright, then you add all that in, the heart, same thing. And you get the idea. Okay, now we want to add mushrooms. These are pieces and stems. You can get bits and pieces. You can cut them up yourself. Canned mushrooms, they're perfect. Dump them out, chop them up, and add them to your stuffing. So I had to charge up the battery. It's like 2 hours later. And we'll check on the stuffing now. All I did was add the mushrooms that I cut up. I cut them up, added them, and that's all you missed. So, am I tired? Yes, I am. It's nice and moist. So if you wanted the top of it a little bit brown, see, this is perfect right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. We're going to zoom in here. Yeah. But, ooh, hot. Look at that. You see it? So nice and very good. And it's done just right. So, stuffing's done. Now we're going to move on to the boiling onions. And now we're going to talk about boiling onions. This is a secret recipe that's been in my family for a long time. I've shared it with a few people. You're going to love it. This is a boiling onion. Now, this is the hugest thing that I'll ever say to you as far as mistakes that you don't want to make. You don't ever want to confuse these with pearl onions. If you ever use pearl onions, you'll be gagging. My wife's already cooked them. What you do is you buy a bag of, they're called boilers or boiling onions, and you cut off the ends, you peel them, and you boil them until they're soft. Stick a fork through them. And then pay attention, and I'm going to show you what to do. It's a great, great recipe. First thing you want to do is get the deepest pan you have and melt butter in it. Okay? Put a big old glob of butter in there. And you're going to do this, and you're going to heat it up until that butter's melted. Next, you're going to take carrot slices. You just take a carrot peeler and peel some carrots. It really depends on how much you're going to make, but you want to simmer those in the butter. Not long. You basically just stir those around, get the butter hot enough for them to start to simmer. You know, the carrots are really almost more for color than they are for taste, but they're an important ingredient, so don't leave them out. But it does also, one of the things about the color is it gives it that holiday look when mixed with the rest of the ingredients. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to add is baby peas. Okay, so we got petite peas here. You want frozen baby peas. This is what you want. You add those in there. That's one peck. I'm really starting to burn out here, man. It's been a long night. Basically, you got this stuff simmering here, and now you're going to want to add cream of mushroom soup. Cream of mushroom soup. Ooh, look at that. And you just leave it like that and serve it like that. Just kidding. Okay, so it's really cold where we were storing this in the garage, I guess. So you mix that in. And if that doesn't look like it's enough soup, you always go to your, we have a backup here. And you add that until you get it right where you want it. Okay, and if it looks like there's more substance, that's just the magic of YouTube. I actually added another bag of green of frozen peas. So this is about the amount I want. Now you see how thick it's starting to get? It's a little too thick, so here's what we do. A little bit of milk. Whee! That thins it right out. This is going to have to spread evenly over those boiling onions in a, ideally in a casserole, but you can use those foil pans, which is what I'm going to use. Okay, so now it's thinned out. And the next thing is going to be the most important part, and it's the most tricky. But it makes the whole recipe. Makes it or breaks it. That's still a little bit too thick, so I'm going to add a little bit more milk. I don't want it too soupy, but it's, you know, it's a fine line between too soupy and not soupy enough. That looks a lot better. Now, doesn't that look nice and Christmassy with all the orange and green? Although this is Thanksgiving, but it's very holiday-ish. I'm tired. Here comes the key to this entire recipe here. I don't know if you can see it. It's powdered mustard. Make sure that you're using powdered mustard. Now it sounds weird, but it's the key, and it is the hardest thing to get right because there's only one way to do it, and that's taste. So make sure you don't have herpes simplex 7 on your lip when you're doing this. So you're going to add some powdered mustard. And I've been doing it for a while, so I kind of know where to start, but it's not something that you can really tell somebody. You know, you got to kind of just keep doing it until you taste it. Now, this is the part you got to pay attention to. You want to add enough. If you add too much, it's going to be just too mustardy. If you don't add enough, and I mean if you add one grain too little, it's like it's not even there. So it doesn't do its job. You want to make it so that there's a little bite, a little spicy bite to the mixture. And that ain't it. So we add more. Remember, if you add too much, you can't really unring the bell. You got to then you got to add more peas and more soup. I've gone down that road before too, where it becomes a balancing act, and I don't know, I feel like I'm so tired of not making much sense. So let's just see where we're at. Nope, I don't have that bite yet. I'm looking for that bite. I'll know it when it tastes just right. I'm a singing song singing cook from Virginia. Yeah. Look at me go, look at me stir. Listen to the songs, makes a kitten purr. I'm the singing song cook from Virginia. Oh God. Things are getting bad. Man, we are close. We're so close. It's like loading bullets, man. Too much gunpowder, and they could explode on you. Not enough, bullet doesn't get anywhere. We go out of gun. Shut up. Okay, I'm delirious. Man, I'm so close now. That one extra sprinkle could screw up the whole recipe. Yeah. I think that's going to do it. Make sure you stir it up good though, or you're not going to be getting an accurate taste. Okay, so like I said, you can use a casserole, or in this case I just doubled up a couple of these. And I got my boiling onions laid out. It doesn't have to be in any particular way, you just want to make sure you cover them. And I've got a lot of the soupy stuff here, so woohoo, I'm making a mess. I dump that on there, on the one, and then I dump this one on the other. Hopefully I got enough to cover. I've had every disaster known to man where sometimes I didn't have enough of one thing or the other, and it was not a fun thing to try to work out. So it looks like we did okay here. And what we do is, we just, like I said, we want to cover here. Now this one's got less, but this one I can steal from this one. And again, I'm making food for a lot of people. You guys, you know, if it was a small family, I would just be happy with just one of these. So, you know, it's Thanksgiving. Better to have too much than not enough. Leftovers are a part of the holiday. So then we got that, and then what we're going to do is cover it up with foil, and we're going to bake them at 350 for about, I don't know, I'll check them in an hour to see if they're done. It should be done in an hour. Oops. That one there. In there, and we'll check back in an hour. Okay, now we get to the turkey. So what we want to do here, this turkey has been rinsed and patted dry, and you can see this one's got this is a 24-pound turkey. It's pretty big. It's got a very big cavity. I had set aside some of the stuffing. Looks kind of dark in my little viewfinder. Before, so this is what I'm going to stuff the turkey with. You can use a spoon. I prefer using my hand because I'm a hands-on kind of guy. Now, they'll tell you, and I agree with them, whoever they are, when you're stuffing a turkey, you want to get as much as that can comfortably fit in there, but you don't want to pack it in too tight. It's not healthy. It allows for, I don't know, bacteria or something to grow, salmonella, whatever. Just do what you're told and don't ask questions. Just kidding. Just don't pack it in too tight. There are two cavities. There's this one, and there's one up here that, you know, I don't really ever have a lot of, you know, I used to stuff this end of it, but I'm not going to do it this year. There's not enough room in there to make it worth it, in my very humble opinion. So as you notice, I'm putting a lot in there, but I'm not packing it in. So there's room to breathe, as it were. So that gets put in there. And the next thing that's going to happen is something that for many years, you know, it's been almost like a big secret in my family. I've been doing this for 25 years, and literally every single time I talk to somebody about, you know, I'd give my recipes out, they'd never heard of this. Now, oddly enough, I was looking on the internet, and out of curiosity, I went one of the little advertisements popped up for some cooking tips. Lo and behold, I think it was Martha Stewart or some cook, I don't know who it was doing the same thing. And here I thought that, you know, this was something that my grandmother made up, but cheesecloth. This is the key right here. This is the key to a turkey that's not going to be dry. Trust me, no matter what you do, if you screw everything else up, don't forget cheesecloth and make sure you get it well ahead of time. Sometimes it's very hard to find. My wife found this at Bed Bath & Beyond. So I'll pause this for a second while I'm cutting the proper dimensions, but you want to cover the whole turkey. And I'm going to show you a little trick on how to get this thing started in just 1 second. Hang on. So what I did was I melted some butter, and I'm using gloves on this because actually I've never done this before, but it just seemed like a really good idea, and I have them. So I'm going to take my cheesecloth and I'm going to drench it in this butter. Now there's no way to do this without making some kind of a mess. Try to make it minimal though, if you know what I mean. You know what song is totally stuck in my head and I can't stand it? But I am so sleep deprived that I'm starting to sing crazy songs. I don't even want to tell you, it's embarrassing. 2, 3, 4. Hey, sexy lady. Oh, 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 Gundam style. Anyways, it's not a shirt that way. Okay, so I move this over here, and hopefully you can see this. But I'm taking this butter drenched cheesecloth and I'm going to lay it over the bird like a shroud. The Shroud of Turin. Okay, here we go. Okay. So this thing is completely covered. And what does this do? What this does is when you're basting it with, you know, with the drippings, the butter, the wine later on, this keeps the baste from rolling off of the bird. I mean, it's just ingenious. So when you're basting it later on, and even like right now to get it started, look at this. The butter just soaks right into that, into the cheesecloth. And this guarantees a very moist bird, don't you know? So that is that, and then you're going to also want to baste it with the white wine we talked about earlier. This white wine that we put in the stuffing is also going to be used to baste, okay? So, you know, you can start it off with some if you want. And then later on, what's going to happen is you're going to have some of the best drippings known to mankind on the bottom of this pan. And that's what's going to be used for your gravy for your mashed potatoes. And brother, sister, you are going to be in seventh heaven. So let me get the oven ready. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get the boiling onions out. They are done. There's one. Ooh, they smell good. Oh, yes, they do. Okay, we're going to put that there. I'm at 350. A lot of people will do it at 325. This is a 24-pound bird. I'm doing it at 350. And I'm going to do my little chart here. Turkey in at 8:45. This clock has not reset itself from daylight saving, so it says 9:45. So I'm going to actually say 9:45 because I'm using the basement oven clock time. In reality, it's 8:45. So it's in, and then I will keep track of when I baste it, when I take it out, blah, blah, blah. All right, see you in a minute. So it's now been about an hour. Uh-oh, I gotta move the camera. How bad is that? Sorry. And I'm going in for a basting. You don't really need to. Woohoo! I caught it. I got the reflexes of a Green Beret. Hang on. All right, so you don't have to really see this, but you know. So we pull that sucker out, then we start to shout that some more. Ring-a-ding-a-ding, everybody sing that some more. This is it, butter hot, everyone needs a lot, that's amore. Now don't forget your turkey baster. Remember, turkey basters are not just marital aids. They serve a purpose when you're cooking turkey. Ring-a-ling-a-ling, everybody sing that's amore. I use liberal amounts of butter, because the more butter you use up here, the more awesome gravy drippings that you have down below later. If you know what I mean. Put it in at 9:45. It is now 3:45. So this thing's been in here for 6 hours. And basically what you're going to want to do now is, if it starts to get to the point where the bird is too dark for your liking, but still not done, you can cover it with a tent of tin foil so that it doesn't brown anymore. And now I need to take a temperature reading. You want to make sure you start to baste it. At this point, you've got lots of beautiful golden, mess all over the stove there. Beautiful golden juices with your wine, your butter, and the bird's natural juices, and you want to start to baste it with its. Actually, you should have started a while back, but I admit I fell asleep. Gotta be careful that the skin doesn't come off when you're taking the cheesecloth off. Be very careful. Hey, and look at the color here. You can see, you know, this is a nice colored bird. Nice. Oh boy, is that tender. That is nice and tender. Wow. Yeah, I would say this one's done. So I'm going to take this off, and then I'm going to get a thermometer and verify the internal temperature. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to use a thermometer and get the proper internal temperature. Should be about 180 in the breast or in the thigh, and 180 in the breast. Somewhere around that. Gotta make sure you're not next to a bone though, or you're not going to get the proper reading. 150, 160. It's going up. 170. 75. We're 180 down here, right above the leg. So that's fine. And then, let's see, I want to do the breast, but I don't want to make it, like I said, I don't want to make a huge hole, but I'm going to put it in there anyways. 185. Wow, so I'm going to make sure I'm not next to a bone or something. Like I said, I'm not really a good mortician, so I got to kind of wing it, so to speak. And we're up at 180, so we're doing really good. This turkey is done. That's it, man. That's your turkey. Happy Thanksgiving, or Merry Christmas, or Happy whatever. And I hope you enjoy this turkey. Man, I just feel good. Just good.